Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Scrap and Roll MMA podcast. I'm your host, Sky. We got your host, Jace, and we got your host, CJ, in the building. We are back. If you haven't already, make sure that you go and check out our episode that we do on Sundays called The Sunday Hangover. We had a guest on there, T-Ball Paul from TikTok. That
The
pod
goat.
that pod is crazy. Like, it's super, super good. Make sure y'all check it out. We go over UFC 287 and just our reactions, 1 day removed from it. It's absolutely fire. 100% fire. But we here now. It's Max Holiday week. Did
I
I
like
say
that.
Max Holiday? I didn't
Hey,
even
cause it's
plan
a
that.
holiday, baby. It's a
Hey, let's
holiday.
go. Choo choo. The Bless Express coming into town. Let's go. I don't even want to look over there at you anymore. I really don't.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, hey, first of all, you should always want to look at greatness. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. There we go.
One thing I did want to say is shout out to Izzy, because Izzy posted us. Izzy posted one of the little breakdown videos that I posted. So, we real hype and excited about that. Safe Saud posted us. Just breaking down that fight sequence that Jace, of course, doesn't believe was him playing possum, but that's neither here nor there. Israel Adesanya is the middleweight champion for a reason and new, but maybe we should, take a look at this upcoming card. Now, it's not the craziest of cards, right? Like the
Hold
top
on, Sky.
is,
Sky. Let me
yeah,
gas you up for a second. Let me gas you up because Izzy came to your page, reposted your stuff because that's all the hard work that you put in. We just
thank
come in
you.
here and talk our shit. You do the beautiful graphics. You do all the work in the back end. I watch as a fan. Jason Smart, he gets his watch on, but you put all the hard work in the end, and you deserve all of that shit
That's
for real
facts.
though.
That's
So
Thank you.
facts.
much
Thank
love to
you.
you, and thank you for putting us together and having us talk, man. This should be fun,
Hell
Thank
and
yeah.
we
you.
just gonna grow, y'all. We gonna build this
Facts.
community. Shout out to T-Ball Paul for coming in, and there's more people gonna come in and show love.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Damien, our other co-host, he's in Belize right now on his honeymoon. So shout out to him as well.
Congratulations, brother.
And not to toot my own horn again. Well, I didn't toot it. He did. But just got notified that this is my third time being nominated for a sports Emmy for Amanda Nunes, Year of the Fighter. So cross your, woo, so cross
Bow,
your
bow,
fingers.
bow, bow.
Hey, you did a good one. Cross your fingers
I've
that we
heard that
win this
before.
year. Yeah, so cross your fingers that we win this year. But yeah, let's hop into this card. Now it's very top heavy, so the early prelims isn't that crazy. But how these fight cards be. You look at them and you're like, I don't really know what's going on, and then nothing but bangers after bangers after bangers.
Banger, bro.
It's not in the Apex. It's in Kansas City. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's starting off right now. Shout out to, I didn't even realize that this was Lando Venata right here. He's completely shaven. Um,
You know him obviously closer than I do.
whatever. Yeah, I didn't even realize that he was on this card. But shout out to He's going against Daniel Zeller. I cannot pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to do it. But he's another contender series prospect who he had his debut like 3-4 months ago, and I was super disappointed because he could have won the fight, but he like wouldn't push the pace and kind of just it was very strange. But yeah, so the undercard is a little underwhelming, but make no mistake, definitely 100% watch it. You gotta
Brandon
watch it.
Roy Val's on there, isn't he?
Let's see. Did they remove him? Oh, okay.
Holy shit. Ed
That's
Herman
fight
is
right.
still alive. Ed Herman is still alive. Oh my God.
Breaking
Damn.
news.
This motherfucker's got to be 96 years old. I want to say he first started in like UFC like 86. Shit.
There's no way. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me see. All
Short
right. We're
fuse.
already in 2014, 2013, 2011. God, 2009. Wait, no. It's still letting me load. 2007. But wait, there's more. It's still letting me load.
Like I said,
2006.
like I said,
Oh, dude.
Oh,
How
whoa,
is that?
is that against Grove? What the fuck is his first name? Because
Kendall,
Kendall Grove from Hawaii, from the Big
the
Island, man.
spider, the
Oh,
spider.
The spider.
I love me some Hawaiians. Yep.
He was
Yep.
good
So
too. He has some skills.
Yeah, yeah.
he's been here
Y- y-
since 2006.
Real quick side note, I would say that like he is like the first Brad Tavares. You know,
Okay.
a guy who's just really tough, durable, will fight. Like, oh, I don't want to say a gatekeeper, but pretty much a gatekeeper. Like he would test you.
Hmm.
Kendall
Yeah,
Grove or
Kendall Grove, and
okay.
which is now kind of like Brad Tavares, right? I
Yeah.
mean, prior to Izzy get knocked the fuck out, most people would say that his toughest fight was against Brad Tavares.
So we're gonna come full circle with that name. I got some I got some weird stuff. It's funny. Go, yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All
I
right.
like
Yeah.
that. I'm glad you
So
said that name, brother.
shout out to Ed Herman. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a casual. Did not know had no idea who the fuck he was. So
That's
thank you,
short
Jace.
fuse.
almost 20 years in the company. Damn,
Yeah.
damn, dog, damn.
Right.
Shit.
Looking like an absolute journeyman. Like win one, lose one. Hey, but your boy's getting paid. I don't know what he getting paid, but well, thanks for pointing that out because we'll make sure that we check that out, especially the history. I mean, like his numbers got to be ticking soon, right? Like he's got to be at a point to where he doesn't want to be there anymore. But I didn't realize that they put Brandon Royval on here. They
that
rescheduled it.
that fight is gonna be fire. I think so.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This fight was supposed to be on one of the pay-per-views. It ended up getting moved here, so this is exciting. This is really important for the flyweight division. It's been kind of quiet ever since your boy Brandon Moreno won. So so yeah, they need a little bit of movement, or they need to at least announce him versus Pantoja, because I'm assuming that's what's going to be next. But then we got Bill Algeo versus TJ Brown. TJ Brown, every single time that he fights, is a banger. Every single time TJ fights. I think he just fought on the December Vegas card against, let's see if it'll show me who he fought against, because I remember like that card ended up being really good. Oh yeah, him versus Silva. Silva's another guy coming off the Contender Series. They had a fight. Yeah, it was on the December 10th card, and that one was it was okay, but it did end in a submission in that last
I
round.
do remember that fight now. Yep.
Yeah, it was like on the prelims. It might have been like the third or
Hmm.
fourth card in. What are you smiling about, Jace?
So I threw out a number that I thought that Ed Herman, I believe I said UFC 86, and like it's closer to him being at UFC 66 because we're talking about
Wow.
2006.
I think you
Wow.
might have actually said 60 something originally.
Did I?
You might have
Man.
been close.
Hey, come on, T-Ball Paul. You think you can go with me? You think you can go one-on-one with the great one?
He actually didn't. He said 86, but you're close. 20 off, man.
Oh, he
Shit, that's
did.
in the ballpark.
The,
That's in the ballpark like a motherfucker, though.
the great one, the chosen one, the Jace. Not ready, son. Not ready. Sorry, let's continue.
Yeah, I can't wait to have T-Ball back on. Your boy Clay Guida still after it.
The
Chicago
Carpenter.
Carpenters. Chicago Carpenters.
Hey, he
That's a
looked
guy
good
been
in his
fighting for.
last fight.
Yeah, who did he fight his last time out?
He looked great his last fight.
Who did he fight again? I'm
I
trying to
think the
I
guy
remember
that
remember.
I was gonna ask.
retired. Yeah.
Oh,
Holtzman. Scott Holtzman.
Holtzman. Yep.
Yeah, and Scott retired. That was his retirement fight. But shit, had Clay, and I'm not sure if it's because Scott was also 40, but had Clay in there looking good.
Yes, he did.
When did that fight happen?
December 3rd. That was on the night
Damn.
that Kevin Holland died.
Got the journeyman Kevin Holland got you.
Hey, he's not. He can't be a journeyman yet. He hasn't fought enough. He hasn't done enough to call him that.
Okay. And
Are
then
you
we got,
really calling Kevin Holland a journeyman?
I mean, so let's just look at this, right? Like he's never gonna fight for the title, you know. He pretty much flip-flops at this point, win loss, win loss. I mean, that is kind of a journeyman at that point. Kind of a journeyman.
I think he's too early in his career. I mean, to call him a journeyman. What about you, CJ?
It's a little early. He might string some wins, but he does. I don't even think he cares if you call him that anyway. He just wants to fight, like Jay said last week. He's the Black Cowboy,
Black
and that's
Cowboy.
not and that's not bad. That's not
No.
bad.
Think about how beloved Cowboy is. You know what I mean? And I got something for that, but let's get through this first, and then I'm gonna ask y'all a couple questions.
Oh, okay. All right, and then Pedro Munoz. See, like there's some sneaky good fights on here.
Hmm.
Pedro
Hmm.
versus Chris Gutierrez, the man that killed Frankie on his way out. Um, that was hard. That was
That
hard to
was
watch.
brutal.
This is gonna be a really good fight. Your boy. Every time I think of Ian Kutalaba, I think about when he was in there with Ankalaev and he was faking like he had got hurt, and then the ref called it off, and he's like, "What the fuck? I was faking." Do you remember
Hmm.
that?
Hmm. Yep.
Um, yeah, he definitely needs to win, but I'm not familiar with Tanner. Dustin Jacoby,
Tanner Bozeman, he was at heavyweight,
was he?
and
So
then he
he's
came
cutting down.
down. Yeah.
Okay, the Great White Canadian, we see you. Dustin Jacoby, amazing, skillful kickboxer.
Banging, bro. Banger.
Right, which even though I wanted Khalil Roundtree to win, which is who Dustin fought last time, I did feel like Jacoby. I did feel like Jacoby won that fight. But it was super close. And then the co-main event, let's go, Edson Barbosa versus Billy Q.
Uh,
You know what you gonna get.
I'm going for Edson all day.
You know what you're gonna
man,
get out of Billy Q and Edson. What you saying, CJ?
man, it's hard. That's hard for me, man. Like I love me some Edson Barbosa too, but I think his time might be up. And Billy Q's young. He's scrappy, fast. So I might say Billy Q might pull it out a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more. Uh, nah, fuck that. I'm going for Edson Barbosa, but I think Billy Q gonna win. I'm
Mm,
definitely want the old school fighters to do well.
y-
Yeah.
you was halfway right, young blood. Young blood, halfway right.
What you think, sir?
Um, I feel you when you talk about age and just like, especially like
Yeah,
what we've been seeing recently. But
you can't go against them.
yeah, exactly. Last week I went against, I went with my heart and I went with Izzy. It worked out. I'm still gonna go with Edson. Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Edson. All right, and the real reason why this fight is even happening, Max Blessed Holloway taking on Arnold Almighty Allen. Let's get
Ole,
into it.
ole, 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 ole.
Are you done?
Um, for now.
Yeah. So, if this is your first time watching the pod, please know I'm highly biased. Max Holloway is my favorite fighter. He's my GOAT. I don't care about nobody or anything else. I don't care about what y'all talking about. I'm biased. I'm ignorant to the fact of anything. And that's what you're dealing with. Like, don't try to go back and forth with me about it because whether it makes sense or not, hey, I'm on that Holloway train until the wheels fall off. And when the wheels fall off, I'm over there, in the
Pushing the
trenches trying to
train,
put the wheels
pushing the
back
train.
on. Come on, let's go. Like, you got to be like a real life fan out here. You can't just be, these fair weather friends. Your fighter loses, and next thing you know, you're just like, oh, this, and that happens. Um, yeah. So, how are you guys feeling about the fight?
CJ, speak on it.
The best is blessed, baby. I can't go no other way. I don't care what no who he fighting against. I'm rolling with the best, man. Max Holloway all the way. Let's go. Yes. What do you think, Jace? Who you rolling with?
So for me,
Double A?
I think it's a really interesting fight, right? We have the though not old, right, but aging fighter. You know what I mean? In Max Holloway, going against that young, tenacious monster who coming for his throat because he knows he beats Max Holloway, by hook or crook. He's fighting for the title next, and most likely in England. You know what I mean? All he has to do is get through the Blessed Express.
Sounds good.
It sounds very good. It sounds very good.
That's all
And it's
everyone
five
has to do.
rounds too. It's
Yeah.
5 rounds too, right?
Yep.
I just watched him fight Super Sadiq. today.
Arnold Allen.
He beat him. He beat him, right? He was rocking him. But one thing I noticed in the third round, that gas tank got depleted. And you
Yep.
know Max Holloway's cardio is something crazy. And his output is something vicious. And he's gonna throw a million punches and one. And he's gonna turn double A into hamburger meat, man. Let's
Mm.
go. The best is blessed.
Choo choo. I think like for some reason because Arnold Allen got Hooker out of there, Hooker who had cut down to 145 for the first time in what like 5 years or something, who didn't look like himself because he got him out of there. People like have kind of and then of course Calvin Cater popped his
He got
leg,
hurt, yeah.
tore he got hurt in the second round, literally the beginning of the second round. So we didn't get to see much. But like people are just like really pulling this, trying to like push this narrative of like, oh, Max Holloway is taking a lot of damage and Arnold Allen is gonna knock him out. Listen, if anybody was gonna knock him out, it was gonna be the man who was too fast for him, Alexander Volkanovski. Okay, and he was getting lit up in that fight. If anybody was gonna knock him out, it was gonna be Yair Rodriguez, who was throwing shit from outer space.
All angles.
Okay, like all angles, like staring in your face, throwing a fucking hook. Like there was all kind of craziness happening. Anybody has the potential to knock out anybody, right? Um,
Facts.
but Arnold Allen's not a knockout artist.
Fair.
He's a
Big decision
decision
guy.
machine. Yeah, he's a big
Yes.
decision guy. When I watch his striking, I'm not impressed by how he throws his hooks and everything is just open, just like spamming. Da 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 da. His striking isn't as crisp as I feel like it should be. It's not like he's a grappler or jujitsu, like you know what I mean. Is he? But he's not bad. Obviously, he
No,
is
yeah.
where he is for a fact. But I don't see him possessing the tools to like really cause enough damage to get Max out of there. And like
Mm.
you were saying about his like you were saying about the cardio. Like the cardio is not great. There was another fight that he had that I was watching UFC Journey on ESPN's YouTube channel, and there was a fight that he was I can't remember who it was against, but he was losing the fight. Was able to like to squeak out a sub like towards the end of that round, and even in that he was talking about how he was getting gassed out and tired. I think one thing that because I'm obsessed with Max Holloway and I watch so much stuff about Max just like in general. Um, I remember I was watching an episode of RC and DC, and DC slipped in there that Max was coming to AKA to wrestle with him for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I do remember that. Yep.
And nothing else was said of it, which I mean, these are people's fight camp, it's nobody's business. But I wonder if we're going to see if Max did make it down there, if we'll see him, wrestle and clinch more, depending on what's going on. But yeah, I was gonna go with Max either way.
I mean, do you think, regardless of who the fighter is, that one fight camp or let's say 3 months like really help somebody that much?
Um, I think it depends on who. Like, am I expecting Max to go out there and be like a wrestler? No, but he was good enough to blast a double leg and take down Yair Rodriguez and hold him down. You know what I mean? Do I think he's going to do that against Allen? Not necessarily. One narrative that I hate about the Yair Rodriguez fight is that people were like, oh, it made him become a wrestler. How about the fact that this is a mixed martial arts fight. And when it's time to make adjustments, you must adjust. If he would have sat there and continued to get pieced up like he was getting his legs kicked off, then you guys would have been talking about he doesn't have any fight IQ. Then when somebody decides to be a mixed martial artist and wrestle, then it's like, oh my God, it made you have to wrestle. It's like MMA fans are like living in like this world, in this space where like they want to pigeonhole a fighter into a certain area, and then when the fighter breaks out of that, all of a sudden they see it as a weakness rather than seeing it as
Evolving.
evolving. Yes.
Yeah. I
Fair.
like that.
Yeah.
Also, what I was seeing today with the Dan Hooker fight, because I went back and watched that. If Max, Max has beautiful head movement. If he moves his head and makes a miss, Double A throws everything hard. Everything is so hard. So if Max misses, slips, and counter, which he's beautiful at doing, he's gonna do well. because, like I said, he gasses. Dan Hooker made him miss a few times, and you
And
seen the
caught him.
gas level. Yeah, and caught him a couple times too. And I think why his gas tank goes down because he's super big. You know, his dad's a
Pause.
strong man.
Apparently, CJ know Double A better than me as well.
Shut up.
Already on it, huh? Yeah. So you be thinking about D too much, bro. Chill out, man. It's Tuesday. Yeah. But experience, Max Holloway's experience is amazing. He's been in there with the best, and we always say that he fought the best of the best. He fought Volk 3 times, and we can debate about the second fight. But I think Max is gonna pull this off. I'm not gonna say he's gonna make it look easy, but he's coming back for it, man. I want Max to get that fourth fight. Let's get it. Let's get it.
I was watching his interview with Brett Okamoto, and
Clean
you
shaven,
know,
Max.
yo, Styles was shaving too. I was like, who, first turned it on, like, where's the fuck is Max? Like, who is this man?
From
I had
before,
no
we had
idea.
like
Yeah.
the super long hair in his prior fight.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a little shocked by that. But like one thing that I do have to appreciate, and that I posted about, and like Jason and I talk about this all the time. Max Holloway never gets on there and makes excuses.
Yeah.
Like he never gets on there and loses a fight. Like he got his ass beat against Volkanovski in the last fight. Most fighters come out and tell you a story as to why they were lost. They hint at it. They just do a whole bunch of stuff where you're just like, okay, dude, like we get turned off by it because it happens so often. And in this interview, he just says, in this interview, he says exactly what we want to say. He's like, what if the guy just made you look like that? He's like, I hate when people say, oh, this person's lucky because that person was having an off night. He's like, you don't know their game plan. You don't know if they just made that person look like that. He's like, Alex just made me look like that. He was a better man the last time
That
we
night.
the octagon that night. And that's the type of mentality that I think like more fighters need to have. Shout out to Bryce Mitchell who had the flu, and your mama and your daddy and your sister and your cousin. Like,
oh, Sky, you got off that train so fast.
I had to. I was like, nah, you're not about to get your ass beat. Then come out here and start talking about the flu. Then say you're going to retire. Like, he was all over the place. I was like, come on, Bryce. Come on. Like, nobody wants to hear that. But yeah, like, I just always respect that about Max. Even like when his cousin was murdered on his birthday, the very first Volkanovski fight, he never talked about it. Not during the interviews. He never spoke anything of it. And I think that that's something that like a lot of fighters really need to just take heed to. Like everybody's going in there with an injury. Everybody got something. Everybody's mama on crack. This is happening. That's happening. Like everybody's life is crappy. And that's not just the professional athlete. That's just every single person that's living and breathing, But like if you make the walk, if you decide to go out there and fight another person,
bring your best.
hey.
No
What
excuses.
comes with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a really good fight. I want you guys to know I will literally be walking on clouds if it's anywhere in close to a Calvin Cater performance, especially because so many people are doubting your boy. You lose one fight and all of a sudden
You're a bum, Rocky. You're a bum.
Yeah. I think in general the MMA community really has an issue with like disregarding champions. Like Max Holloway is not Darren Till. Okay?
I don't even think it's disregarding champions. I think it's the recency bias / like what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? Like you lose one time, then you fucking retire. You're a piece of shit. We won't talk about how some of the other co-hosts are saying that about Rojas, but we'll just keep it pushing. We'll just keep it pushing.
We did not
Bump,
say
set,
that
and
about,
spike. Bump, set, and spike.
We did not say that about Rojas.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
CJ.
We was together on that.
Wait a second.
Like,
exactly.
said-
Roll the tape.
Once again, I said that he needed to potentially go into a developmental deal. Not that he was going to be trash and terrible and it could never happen. I said that I didn't want him to end up like Chase Hooper.
You said he needs to go into a never heard before development deal. He needs to hit the regional circuit after one loss. And we just want you to be consistent over here. I said,
But see, that's not the same. I'm not saying that he's trash. I'm saying it would behoove him to go and be on a developmental deal because there's one thing to losing. This is what I said specifically, and it's another thing for us to see extreme holes in your game because he's young. If he was 25, 26 years old, I'd be like, hey, it was a bad fight. I don't want him to end up like Chase Hooper, Darren Hill, Sage Northcutt, these young people that get inside of the fight game and then now they're just fucked. Look at them. They're just fucked.
first of all, I'm thinking CJ would say this. First and foremost, none of them were Viva Mexicano.
Oh, that's a strong point, Chase. That is a very, very strong point.
I'm just saying consistency here. I'm just saying let's be consistent. But anywho's, yes. I've got my prediction coming at the end of the show. I'm still thinking about it. I know y'all won't let me off the hook.
Yeah, we won't.
If it ain't Max, he just gonna be wrong. Because his main event picks ain't been there. So it has to be Max. He better be wrong with us.
I went what 3 for 5 on the last card. I want to say I went 3 for 5. I can live with that.
On the whole card or the main card?
On the whole card.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of that, I just watched the slow-mo of Yanez's knockout. It literally
God, it's so bad.
Hurt me. Like I went to go repost it and I was like, I can't post that. I can't.
Can we talk about how much I love / hate the fucking super slow motion where you can see like right there, right fucking there, his lights went off, the brain moved right there. He's like,
oh, so bad.
And they get that picture, like they got Tony's picture with the toes and his face just scrunches up. Like, God, why you do my man's like that?
We're not allowed to talk about Tony on the podcast. Okay?
I know.
Can't. For everyone who knows, like Tony is my guy, El Kakui, the boogeyman. I love this dude. I love
blades and shades, baby.
Shades. Oh man,
mythical creature. Cheers
Thanks.
to him.
Don't make niggas like that. You heard from that dirty. So
yeah.
And get into these hot takes. My favorite part of the show.
I think CJ has something first.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, before we hop into hot takes.
Hot take. Oh, this is a hot take.
All right, let's get into it.
Dricus Duplessis needs to fight Izzy for the championship belt.
Facts.
Dricus Duplessis needs to fight Izzy for the championship belt. So let's run down some names people been calling, right? One has been Khamzat Chimaev, right?
Who?
Mm-hmm. Stop it. We're not doing
that.
How
many fights has Khamzat had at middleweight?
Who?
1.
2.
Okay.
He's fought GM3.
Okay.
And somebody named John Phillips, right?
Who probably ain't in the UFC. That was a debut, right?
And wait a second. Technically, his fight against Kevin Holland was a middleweight fight. Wait a second now.
Yeah, that's we don't even know what that division was.
Technically.
So then we have your boy Alex Pereira. He literally just fought him. He just fought him. So let's round down his names. He fought Strickland and beat him, right? He's number 7. Strickland is number 7. He got a good win over Bruno Silva. He's probably like 21 down the list. I looked that shit up. And old boy's name that he needs, his name is Micheladas. We don't even know his damn name, right?
Sounds like a drink.
I do like Michelada. Give me the spice in me. Nigga, whip Pacifico.
Me too. Whip it up.
Yes, sir.
And I was fighting with people on TikTok. It sounds so crazy to say Dricus Duplessis, the number 6 Go ahead.
Pause. Let's go ahead and give CJ a shout out for his pronunciation on that shit.
I,
I
I
ain't even
like saying
trying.
bro's name.
I ain't even trying, nigga. I'm not even trying to say this
Briques
nigga's name.
Duplessis.
Yes. My man sound
The
like he's
craziest
straight.
thing, the craziest thing is he's on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC.
Who's he beat?
5-fight win streak. So let's go. Perez, who? We don't know. But Trevin Giles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like everybody else on this list that those other guys beat. Hey, who
Mm-hmm.
were you talking about earlier today?
Darren Till.
Brad Tavares.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Number
a win.
number 17 on the list. Who did Izzy beat? Brad Tavares. Ah. Then Darren Till. He might not be the best, but he was a name. He beat him. Number 8 on the list. Derek Brunson. Who beat him? Israel Adesanya, the champion. So, out of all those names, Dricus, number 6 at middleweight, deserves to get his ass whooped
Yes.
by the last style bender. And it sounds crazy. That's the thing. It sounds crazy for him to get a shot at the belt. But Izzy already beat everybody else down there. Give him a shot. Let him get beat. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let him get beat, bruised, and battered. That's it.
Israel
That's it.
Adesanya dusts him in a way, kind of like we talked about on Sunday, on the Sunday Hangover, which is I want to see it because what a better look for Izzy to come off a knockout of Alex Pereira. Then you run him up against Dricus. You have this whole Africa versus Africa battle, and he beats and batters this man. That's a great
Yes.
visual for
But
your
look, too,
number one
Sky.
guy.
So anything could happen in the fight. Anything could happen. Let's
Correct.
case in point. Valentina Shevchenko, and I love me some Valentina. She fought number 6 Grasso and lost the belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Dricus at? Number 6. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
I
Because
thought you.
Valentina
I
had
thought.
nobody else to fight.
I thought you don't do MMA math.
Hey, sometimes the science be science, and sometimes the math be mathing. That's
Okay.
the craziest part. Algebra
Okay.
be hard, and that was some motherfucking algebra.
Hey, and
Hey,
you know what?
we appreciate all your research there, young bud.
And you know what? Especially from it coming from CJ. CJ always be like, "Don't come inside here with the numbers and the math and none of that shit."
Let's just have
And
fun.
and your boy came with the receipts, didn't he? He came. He was like, "Hey, this, and that."
Okay,
Hey,
Ariel.
listen,
I'm just saying.
I wanted Dricus. Period. Like it didn't even matter to me because he was popping that shit. He was popping that shit, and then like you seen the post, y'all seen the post
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, and he's still
Mm-hmm.
popping that shit.
We are
I'm like,
Africa.
oh baby, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Listen, we gotta say it's though funny, right? This nigga Drinker said, "Have fun at your home in New Zealand." Like that's fire. Like that's hilarious.
That was shots fired, bro. That's
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Let's run
seen
it.
I seen the MMA hour Ariel and them, they were, getting into it and they were just talking about how like the MMA community, like we know how toxic the community is and how like just kind of navigating that world of this bigger conversation, that really is taking place as far as Africa and
Mhm.
colonizers and apartheid and all of that. Like when you start thinking about that, like that can get really nasty. Like we see how the whole Trump thing, goes on within the community because of
Mhm.
Jorge. And just like what ends up happening, like the nastiness that ends up happening. And I think if we're being honest, and we don't have to go into it on this one, but if we're being honest, we know it's cool when they do it, but when I do
Oof.
it,
They don't
it's a
like
problem.
that.
That's a
You
show in
know?
itself. That's a show in itself. Let's stick to
That's
these hot takes.
exactly.
Let's stick to these hot takes. You get
Hey,
this nigga heated
cheers,
quick.
cheers, cheers. Yeah, I like that.
uh yeah, so let's go ahead. Did you have any hot takes of your own, Jace, before I pull some up?
No. Let's hit these hot takes, and then I'm
All
gonna
right.
ask y'all a question.
All right, so I always, after a pay-per-view, I always try to post, what's your biggest MMA hot take. So let's take a look at one. This one says, Izzy's on his way to being the GOAT of the division.
I'll take this. It's so knee
Wait
jerk
a second.
reaction.
Before you answer, just know The streets are saying that you're an Izzy hater. So what you say in this segment can and probably will be used against you. Proceed.
This guy, this handsome devil, is he hater? No, no, no. So real shit. At this point now, because he's still going on his career, right? We don't know. You know what I mean? Do I think he's going to be the MMA GOAT at middleweight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even just comparing his resume right now to even like Anderson Silva, right? Anderson Silva had defended the title 9 or 12 times, I forget.
11.
11. And even more than that, the quality of person that he defended against. Izzy's had what, 4 or 5 in a row?
7.
But 7. But how many different people? 4 or 5, correct?
Can't help who they put in front of you.
Fair enough. But at the same time, it's like a lot of repeat cycle, right? As well, just not a higher quality of competition. It's kind of what I would say the argument for GSP supposed to against Usman, right? Usman was recycling people. GSP was going through new people, and I just feel like they were more of a threat, right? When Izzy fights against fucking Vittori, like there's no threat there. Cannonier, there's no threat there. You know, the Boogeyman obviously got it done one time, and then he just, by hold on,
Don't start.
a hair lost against Izzy this past time because he was on
He
his way to
didn't lose.
knock
He
him
got
the fuck
knocked.
out.
No, he wasn't. He didn't lose. He got knocked the fuck out. He was asleep.
He threw a Hail Mary. It landed.
Oh,
here you about to do that right now, bro?
okay.
She been fighting with everybody on TikTok.
Listen, facts are just facts. All right. I know what I'm talking about. Y'all got to get on train. That's my hot take for it.
So you're saying no, he's not on his way.
No.
On his way to? Oh shit, that's a different
That was the question. Yeah, that was the question. He's on his way to being the GOAT.
Fuck, fuck. That's hard because he still has his career going. So right now, no. So he could be 1A and 1B, which is totally fine. So no, on his way, no. Because who the else he about to fight Dricus Duplessis? like no, like what the fuck? Hell nah. And then if he beats Dricus Duplessis, then he gonna fight Sean Strickland. Like no, like the quality's already down. So, and I love Izzy, so nah, he's not on his way to being the 85 GOAT.
Scott,
hey, get your douches ready, because I'm dick riding. I'm gonna say,
whoa, Scott, god damn, LaShawn Strickland.
Whoa,
god damn,
hot take.
All I'm saying is the question said, is he's on his way to being a GOAT? I say yes. I hear you about the rematches and everything, but a couple things come to mind. In his title, as far as title defensive, the difference between him and Kamaru is Kamaru fought those same people during his title reign. He's only fought Robert Whitaker within that title reign. So he won it off of Robert, and then he fought him again. The Marvin Vettori fight happened earlier in his career as he was coming up for the belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we also, just to admit, middleweight fucking sucks. That's the problem. Like, it's not Izzy. Because Izzy called out Yoel Romero. Izzy has tried to and has been infamous in saying he doesn't like doing rematch. He doesn't want to do rematch, to the point that he's calling out everybody. He called Jared Cannonier. He wanted Darren Till. Darren Till couldn't get a win. So in my opinion, it's not like he's that type of champion who's just been trying to do rematches, these are just the people that are in his division. He can't help it that he's head and shoulders above them. And I think that if he can get to, more title defenses, the closer he can get to that 11, and if he can surpass it, to me, I'm going to put him up there. Like, he's extremely skilled. One thing I do want to say that, like, I remember a couple pods ago, CJ said, CJ will say, like, it's a fight. And when you're in that fight, you still have the chance to lose, right?
Yeah,
so we remember, think about Anderson Silva. After he got knocked out by Chris Weidman, that was a wrap. The next fight, he broke his leg. After that, the Nate Diaz popped for steroids. Like, he never was the same after that. And when you think about it, just because, like, even though I'm saying Dricus Duplessis is a pussy and he can get his ass beat, he can still come inside here. Say if Israel
Something
Adesanya,
weird.
something weird can happen, and that could be the end of it for you. We do not know. And so, like CJ always says, a fight is a fight. Anything can happen. So when these people are out there fighting, is he at any point, even though we're like, oh, Marvin Vittori's no threat, he could have been. We don't know on
Mm-hmm.
that day and at that time. So to rack up those defenses, I think that he could be on the way to being the middleweight GOAT. I'm not circling it out.
If you
Or at
like it,
least
I
for
love
his
it. I'm
era.
not mad at it.
At least for
That
his era.
I definitely could respect that for sure. For sure, definitely.
Yeah. Because we can't go back, to the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of, because of course that's too hard. It's too hard to put somebody over legends, especially like you said, because Izzy is still fighting. But of this era right now, currently, ain't nobody touching him. And he fought Anderson, obviously at the end of his career, but he did win that fight.
Ain't no one touch Izzy. How did he do his last fight? Not 2 days ago, but the time before that.
What fight?
The
Gotta have a short memory in this game, boy.
the first fight against Pereira.
I'm gonna say this: you're only as good as your last fight.
Yep.
I don't know if that's to be true, but
It is
fair
true.
play.
It is
Fair
true.
play. But if that's the case, then that's saying then you're throwing people out with the bathwater because they lost one fight.
No, because we're talking about Israel Adesanya. You're
But if
only
you're
as good
saying,
as your last fight.
if you're making the argument that you're only as good as your last fight, and that goes back what we were talking about earlier on the podcast on Saturday of saying, okay, if someone lost one fight, they're fucking done. So I don't
No,
know if
see, that's two different things. Like you're done. So is
you're
Alex Pereira just
saying
what
you
does done
said
mean? What does done
you
mean? Like you retire, you quit fighting, you don't never get a contender fight again. What does done mean?
you said you're only as good as your last fight. That's not me
What
putting words
does
in your mouth, correct?
done mean? What does done mean?
That's what you said. You're only as good as your last fight.
What does done mean? You should retire. Should Alex Pereira retire? What does
Absolutely
done
not.
mean?
Because I don't think
So
you're done.
what does done mean? Does he never get a shot at to fight for the championship?
We were
No.
talking earlier about how when people say you lost one fight, then you're just done. You should retire, right? That's what we were saying with the problem with the MMA community. That's what we said earlier, right?
No, they start discrediting him. A lot of people have started discrediting Alex Pereira. Oh, he's not that good. He's only one dimensional. He can't really fight. He only had this many fights in the UFC. He can't do this. He can't do that. A lot of people do that shit. But I'm not saying he's done just because he lost one fight.
Agreed, right? But then also you're saying that you're only as good as your last fight, which for
He
me is
is only
essentially.
as good as that.
But I don't think that's true because people can have a bad night.
He can, but it's the word you say, done. Like, what do you mean done? As in retire? He doesn't have skills, or like, what do you mean done?
I
That's like a
don't.
definitive ass word.
I don't feel like none of that is true. I don't feel like you lose a fight, you are done, or you should be discredited. I don't feel like you're only as good as your last fight. So we're really saying the same thing, but let's not get caught up on the semantics of words. You said before that you agree. Just because you lose a fight don't mean that like, oh man, you need to switch fucking camps. We can agree to that.
Maybe every situation is not the same. Maybe he should switch camps. Well, are we just talking about Pajeda right now, or anybody else?
I'm just talking about people in general.
Maybe some people may need to have a change of scenery. Maybe.
Agree to disagree. What's the next question?
Next question. Justin Gaethje deserves a title shot.
Fuck no.
Hot take.
Shit. What's he at right now? 4?
Justin Gaethje is 3, right
3?
behind Dustin and Charles.
As in, like, he needs a title shot, like, right now?
Yeah, like it says Justin
No.
should get a
Fuck no.
title shot.
No. I was saying on TikTok he needs to fight Dustin and Justin, and whoever loses, they lose the Ustin. So they're just or dust. But it's weird right there because they're like me and Jace always say this shit. It's like, fuck, man, we always see you guys at the same level. They're always fighting the same people. So I'm kind of tired of seeing them right there. But no, I don't think he deserves a title shot like right now. We got to see
Sky.
what Benny and Charles does.
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Yeah, he needs to fight
Shout out to Randy
Dustin.
Jackson. Shout out to
Shout out
Randy
to
Jackson.
it's a no for me,
It's a
dog.
no for me, dogs. It's a no for me, dog.
Um, One thing that we did want to quickly do, I think we talked about it at one point. We talked about it before Jace asked his last question. I just want y'all to take a look. CJ brought this up when we had got off the podcast last on
Oh,
Sunday. Just take a look at the colors.
ooh, it's melanated at the top, baby. Yes, sir. It's melanated at the
It's a lot of
top,
melanation going on.
and it ain't even February.
No, it's because we had a terrible February, didn't we?
We got to get it back in
February was
blood.
bad. We
Shout
gotta get it
out,
back.
shout out to Wesley Snipes. Always bet on black.
Oh. But yeah, Jace, go ahead and run your question.
Any more hot takes that we're worth talking about?
Nah.
All right. So here's the question. I'd be interested to hear y'all take. So in most sports, when we talk about the Hall of Fame, that is generally speaking celebrated for the best of the best of the best. You know, from the Jordan to the Elway to the Montañas,
Oh, I
the
know where he
best of the
going.
best, right? And then you look at the UFC, right? And I feel like their Hall of Fame is not predicated on who is the best, right?
Hmm.
Does that matter to you? You know, because obviously you probably already know who I'm thinking about, Cerrone, right? Where
Hmm.
Cerrone would never be considered one of the best fighters of all time in a sense of actual, you know what I mean, X's and O's, right? He's
Hmm.
considered a great fighter or one of the greatest fighters of all time because his willingness of anytime, any place, anywhere, and we know he really meant that shit. So I guess my question is, A, like, do you want it to only be the best of the best? Because like the fights they put in the Hall of Fame are like the best of the best of the best. Like these are fucking great. Like shout out to them finally putting in Lawler and McDonald because that is top 5 fights of all time in my book. Or do we just want to have a Hall of Fame of just people who we quote unquote like, people who make us feel good? You know what I mean? Because then now we're talking about like a fucking Clay Guida at that point, right? To a certain extent. So what do y'all want for your UFC Hall of Fame?
Go ahead, Sky.
Um,
What do you think?
as you were asking at first in the beginning, I was like, hell no. But then I really started thinking about it, and I started to think about like one thing that Israel always says is that it's cool that the UFC has their Hall of Fame, but there needs to be a MMA Hall of Fame. Period.
Yeah.
For all organizations, and I think inside of the MMA Hall of Fame that needs to be created, that is where the elite go. I'm okay with the UFC's Hall of Fame having those fighters that are kind of just,
Fan
like,
friendly.
yeah, fan friendly. I'm okay with the Donald Cerrone's. I'm pretty sure they'll put Jim Miller in there because he has the most wins of all time. I'm okay with those type of fighters being in there um, for now. But so yeah, that's kind of like where I ended up going with it. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
I agree with you too, because sometimes it's not all. Because it's kind of weird. Like Barry Sanders is in the Hall of Fame. He ain't win shit. You know, he didn't never win nothing. So, and Cowboys like a pioneer. So, and I think for a sport like this, you want guys that were fighting everybody, win or lose. You know, everybody. He's a pioneer of the sport. So, I appreciate Cowboy being in because a lot of people discredit him too. Like fuck, but people like Cowboy should be in the Hall of Fame. To me, he's in my Hall of Fame. Fuck it.
Now, does
How
it
you
make you
feel? What do you? Oh, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
sorry? Does it make you feel any differently because like have you seen the clip of Cowboy? I can't remember the fighter, but the racist clip that Cowboy has where he calls one of the fighters the N word with two hard ers.
Hard R. Hard.
I don't think I haven't seen that video, but I know he be on his bullshit too.
Oh,
I
okay, because
definitely know he on his bullshit.
before Diego Sanchez like really went out there, he posted it. He had it pinned on his page for the longest. He's going
Mm.
back and forth with and like I really really messed with Cowboy before that, And then like I seen that video, like,
It
and I was
rubbed you
like,
a different way.
oh yeah, because it was like in the locker room. It was like in the back where nobody's supposed to be or
It,
even recording,
mm,
nothing like
Some
that.
type of
mm.
way, make you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Some
And
type of
so,
way.
you know, but that's a whole nother thing. What about you, JC? To answer your own question.
Shit the bed. Shit the fucking bed, eh? Damn dog. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe there should be maybe two classes of the Hall of Fame, even
I
of
like
the
that.
UFC, of saying like this dude was like prestigious, and then like maybe if they like have like maybe like two people, right? Because the sport hasn't been around that long. But if you have like two people who are in there because of the X's and O's and being that motherfucking dude, and then you have one that's kind of like, let's call it like the fans' choice Hall of Fame, you know what I mean? Because it is
I
nice
like
to get
that.
to
I
see,
like that too.
those people, regardless of sport, who maybe wasn't like, so growing up, like I was a big Dennis Rodman guy. Dennis Rodman, I love that dude on the basketball court, right? Is he ever going to be in the Hall of Fame? No. But when I saw how hard he worked and how much he tried when he wasn't doing hooker, and snorting cocaine off their asshole, he was just a great human. You know what I mean? And
I
great to
think Dennis
watch.
might be in the. He might get to the Hall of Fame though.
There's no way.
You don't think so?
No.
He top 50 greatest though.
He didn't make the
Well,
top 100
Did
for
they
the
do?
NBA.
Was he in the top 75?
Fuck no. Absolutely
I'm gonna
not.
pull it
Rodman
up.
didn't make
He
that.
wasn't in the 75. He wasn't in the top 100. Nor will he ever be. But again,
I
I
tell you who
just,
was Allen fucking Iverson right there, baby. Let's go.
I
He
think
did
for
all the
me,
intangibles.
yeah, I think for me, like I just think that they should have like a little separate category because I do want there to be a little distinction of like
Hmm.
this was that motherfucking dude. You know what I mean? But also like I do like him get a little rub, get a little shine. Shout out to Cowboy minus the hard R's.
This is a good question. I'm glad you brought this up because shout out to the Boisterous Boys, and I love listening to their podcast because they be vibing like us. Um, they were talking about Hall of Famers, right? And then they were talking about legends, right? And they brought up
Mm.
Masvidal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we know, and they were like goats and legends, and they were like, "What is a legend?" And they brought up the definition from the dictionary, and then by the terms of the dictionary, they're like the things that he done were legend type shits. So do you feel like Masvidal is a legend in the sport, not a GOAT, not a Hall of Famer, but a legend with the things that he's done?
No.
No, I think he's a journeyman.
So by the definition, oh, go ahead, Jace. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Listen, I wasn't gonna say this nigga's a journeyman. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put him a little bit more than a journeyman, right? But a legend, nah. I think when I think of Masvidal career, it kind of was like a shooting star. You know, at least the
That's a
end of
good one
it.
too. Okay, I like that.
It went quick and it burned fast, and then it was over. You're talking about like his career, as most people kind of think about it. It's like five fights. Like 5 fights is his career.
At
As
the
most
tail
people
end.
think about it. You know,
You really don't think he's a
Uh,
journeyman?
I think he's
who?
above a journeyman, right? When I think of journeyman, I'm thinking of like shout out to Ed Herman
To bring it back.
to bring it back full circle, full circle. The
But
giant ginger.
yes, sir. The West.
Oh, one thing I did want to quickly just insert in there before we go somewhere else. Dennis Rodman was listed in the top 75 that the NBA put out
The
Really?
last year.
Worm. Yeah, put some
Yep,
respect on
Dennis
his name.
Rodman and Scotty.
I know Scottie
As they
Pippen
should
makes
be. As
sense.
they should be. Yeah,
Yep,
as they
Dennis
should be.
Rodman right there. I mean, that three. If you take Dennis out the equation, what they're saying about that, but I think that's yeah. So what I consider, yeah, I wouldn't consider him a legend. Somebody did post on like the video that I made about Jorge Masvidal being a journeyman. They said that Nate Diaz is the best journeyman. What do y'all think about that?
I think Nate Diaz is, as CJ put it, a legend, not a journeyman.
What is a journeyman?
I was about to ask you that. Is that a win one, lose one, win two, lose
Wait, wait,
one,
wait. I'm
win
sorry.
one?
I apologize. Time out. where do you see Dennis Rodman being in the top 75? Because I'm on NBA.com right now.
On their website.
I'm on their website. I'm on the NBA.com, and I'm looking at the
Here, I'm gonna
75th
pull it up right
anniversary.
now. I currently have it on screen. Let me move it over so everyone can see it. Dennis Rodman right here. This is on NBA.com/news/NBA.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was looking at the first name at the last name. You're right. My bad. I
Yep.
yield. I bend the knee.
To Triple C. No.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. So what is a journeyman? Maybe we should get clear about what an actual journeyman is, and that will, you know,
I guess so. For me, when I think of a journeyman, I kind of think almost like a gatekeeper. You know, someone who had one or two like substantial upset wins, right? But someone as well who had like really like how the fuck did you lose to him losses? You know, and it's a flip flop.
Mm,
You know, you're
yeah.
gonna be at maybe like 50 to 65% wins. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be in that 75 to 90% in your win category.
so the definition is a worker or a sports player who is reliable but not outstanding. How is that not Jorge Masvidal?
So that might be Kevin Holland too.
Well,
Right now.
To bring it full
Right now.
circle.
Hey,
To
that
bring
might
it
be him
full
right now too.
circle.
I would say that it's not for me personally, just because like he was outstanding for like a fight and a half, right? And he
Well,
did.
5 fights in 2020. He won all of them. The most fights that year.
Before y'all go on, but I hear this a lot too. And like I said, I'm a Masvidal fan, and I feel like a lot of people just say that and they just start his career there and ended where he ended now. I'm like, he did shit before that too. Like, and he had his ups and downs. He's a decision machine and a split decision machine where those fights could have went either way. But he had a career before 2019 also. But everybody just talks about that era. That's it. That's it. We can
I
move on.
think I think also um there's an assumption that being a journeyman is
It's a
a
bad
bad
thing.
thing.
Ah,
A journeyman's not a bad thing, you
agreed.
know?
Like Jay
Because
said the other day, you need those midline card fighters. Somebody need to be on that motherfucking prelims and things
yeah,
like that.
yeah. You gotta be like, and I hate to quote your boy Kamara Usman, but you gotta be good to be a journeyman. Like, cause that just means you're in the mix. You just not that big of a contender. Um, but yeah, okay, I like
But you
that
still
legend.
getting paid. You still getting paid. You still getting to do what you love. You ain't got to go back to bagging groceries. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kurt
Exactly,
Warner.
exactly. Yeah.
And Masvidal has the fastest knockout in the UFC, so
Mhm.
he has a record. Not too
He
many
got the
people gonna be able to get
opportunity to
that.
fight for a title. A lot of people don't even get the opportunity, especially a lot of journeymen are not going to get the
True.
opportunity
And
to
multiple
fight.
organizations.
And he
Fact.
won a title, so good for him.
Yeah,
Won the BMF.
that's a fact.
Retired
Hey,
undefeated.
hey, undefeated,
Listen,
undisputed. Uncle Chow in
that
the building.
that whole thing was so gimmicky, right? But I loved
Yeah.
it. I
Do
loved it.
you want to see another
West
belt?
Coast gangster, man. It's a West Coast gangster,
Do you
homie.
want to see another BMF belt?
Nah,
No, no,
You
no.
don't?
I would. So
nah.
I would like to see, like I would see. I think it would be cool for like Jorge to fight Cowboy for the BMF. Like I'd be on board for that. I'd be on board for that.
As like a retire. Well, Cowboy, he on the juice. He said he ain't
Yeah,
coming back. He
yeah.
feeling good on the juice. Your boy
Yeah.
Horse
said,
meat.
"I'm."
Horse
Yeah,
meat.
he said he's getting it delivered straight to his door. He ain't never felt so good. He didn't got his little hair plugs put in. He got his hairline back. Cowboy out there living his best life.
Best
Like
life.
F all of this. One question before we go that I thought about earlier. Um, and this is about specific performances. All
Hmm.
right. Um, is Max Holloway's performance on Calvin Cater the greatest UFC performance? And I'm not saying greatest fight because that was a Max Holloway performance, not a greatest fights. Because I don't think it's a great fight when like one person's getting the shit beat out of them. And if
I,
not, who had a better performance?
go ahead, CJ.
One of my favorite ones is Holly Holmes beating up Ronda Rousey. That's one of my favorite ones. Greatest. She made her look fucking stupid.
Uh,
And that's when she was riding crazy high too. That hype train was moving fast as hell, and Holly derailed the fuck out of that train.
so,
She made her look crazy.
so when I'm thinking greatest
I know
performance, I'm
you're
just
gonna say
thinking
Conor McGregor versus Eddie.
no, no. But actually, I just thought about that right now. Like that is one of the greatest performances ever, right? Because he made Eddie Alvarez, the king of hardcore, look like he shouldn't have even been in there, right? Um, I think about Anderson Silva against Forrest Griffin. Like that
The
was
Matrix punch. Oof.
silly. That was like, what are you doing? I think about Habib against Edson Barbosa. You know what I mean? Like Edson Barbosa is just his look of like, I don't know what the fuck to do anymore. Oh my God. Just stifled. I think it's a really open-ended question. I
It's a
think
lot of
Max,
good ones.
for sure. I'm not going to argue. I think Max's performance in Cater was
Fire.
definitely his best work ever as a fighter, at least of that I've seen of Max's fight. So I'm not going to throw shade on it.
I'm of course gonna say yes. Me and John Anik agree. John Anik says that's the single most prolific, amazing, greatest performance he's ever seen in his entire life.
Fuck John
He.
Anik.
Why are we fucking John Anik?
Don't like
Bro,
him.
hey, because he be
What?
shitting on punk ass Kobe.
Hey, did you see that little diss? Did you see that diss?
No, I missed it.
You had not seen the diss? Oh man! Now before we go, hold on. I need to pull it up. All right. So shout out to Hey Jive Picks. And this is for you so that you can see why we talking about John Anik.
His life. And in the post show at UFC 287, John Anik made a little sly comment that you might have missed.
And I just think he is the most relatable athlete to me and many others on this roster. He has never once, unlike Colby Covington, had to step out of his own skin to have a fan base.
Oh! I think that was quite obvious that he was taking a shot at Colby because there was no need to bring him up in that
Is
situation.
that why you mad at John Anik?
Nah, I just don't like that on his Instagram. He goes lead UFC announcer.
He is the lead UFC
It's just a
announcer.
weird flex. And I kind of don't like his voice and like the big like ball testicles underneath his eyes.
Oh my
Literally just look like two big
god!
ball sacks, like
Hating on the man for no reason. Sound like
donkey
you
balls just hanging off.
hating on the man for putting his job title in. Oh man. Y'all, let's go ahead and get your prediction before we get out of here.
Okay,
Yes,
so the
Jace.
moment, the moment you all been waiting for. Here we go. So Max Holloway is Scott. How old is Max now?
31. Just turned
Yeah.
31.
So Max is MMA old. He's going against this young, hungry lion who knows that this is his time. His time is now. And Max is just getting older, and is trying to rely more on smarts than the athletic ability. So I think it's, I'm sorry, Sky. Sorry, CJ. I think Double A is going to go in there and get his fucking ass beat. It's the Blessed Express, baby. Max Holiday all day. The Blessed Express. Choo, 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 choo. Max Holloway gets it done. Fucking styles on him. Puts his ass back down just like he did to Calvin fucking Cater. Max Holloway is that dude, and I fuck with him. Let's go.
I
It
must say,
is what it is.
it is what it is. But I'm shocked. I am shocked. You got me this time. I was like, you know what? I was getting ready to give you a round of applause for being respectful throughout the whole pod. I was like, you know what? Jace came through. He didn't act up, And then all of a sudden you turned on us. We love it. The big reveal.
The big
Oh
rub.
my God. It's The Rock.
Blessed Express, baby. Choo choo.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back on Tuesday. Whatever happens in that fight, it is what it is. But
The
we
best
will
is
be back.
blessed.
I guess we all are riding on a blessed express train. Let's go. Style on them. Get it done. But as for us, Scrap and Roll, we are out. See you guys next Wednesday. Peace.